Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are diving into some topics that I think, honestly, everybody's got on their mind right now. We're talking about new goals, better habits for the year, and living with some intention. We're super excited. First ever guest. We're so excited. She has helped write articles for different health journals, including the European Journal of Nutrition and Food Safety, the Journal of American College Health. She's a registered dietitian. She's part of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. She's received multiple awards, including Innovation in Teaching Award, Recognized Young Dietitian Award, Graduate Research Award, and most recently, Outstanding Dietetic Educator Award coordinated program. And she's also a professor at a university and our best friend.
Yeah, she's
Kerrie
a fellow
Honrath.
bestie.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, isn't it so fun? I mean, super casual. Absolutely love that you were able to join us. It's our holiday break. It's Christmas break. And it worked out great that you could just be here and we could have this fun little interview. So we're super excited. I guess first just tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll get into our background.
Sure. So I grew up with Tamara and Lindy, so I'm very excited to join them for this. And then I went to college to become a registered dietitian. So growing up in high school, I loved to cook, and I also loved to learn about what the ingredients did in food, and I was active in sports. And so I actually took a class, an independent study here on dietetics or food science more so, and then that led me to my path of becoming a registered dietitian. So I worked as a clinical dietitian for 7 to 8 years about, and now I teach at a university in nutrition and dietetics. So super excited to be back here and able to be in person for this.
We're so excited that you could be actually here with us. I know we could like Skype and do that stuff, but way more fun when you're actually here with us.
So like you said, we grew up together. We went through elementary school, middle school, high school. I mean, we've
all the
been,
things.
Yeah, I mean, we were
Weddings,
in each other's
babies.
weddings. I know we've been through a lot together.
Yeah.
So
And we should mention that Kerrie's a fellow mom. She has 2 boys of her own, so she
busy.
is a busy mom also trying to do all the things.
So I mean, seriously, who more perfect to be on the New Year episode than you? I mean, it's just worked out so great. Let's get into some questions. We just are going to go through, all these different questions about new goals, health, living intentionally, stuff like that. So our first question would be, what does the new year symbolize for you when it comes to health and well-being?
So the new year is different for everybody,
Yeah.
I would say. So, thinking about people who maybe they're pretty happy with it, where they're at, health and well-being wise, trying to maintain that and kind of looking at what barriers might come up in the new year, what might change for them in the new year that might impact it. And then for others, it does maybe bring a sense of hope. Maybe it was a tough year for things in their life and that impacted health and wellness. So maybe it brings a bit of a new hope and, trying to implement some new goals.
A clean slate and just get to really go after it.
I think that you can start like new stuff any time of year. I just think the new year is like a reset kind of for everybody. So I think it's a time that most people are like, do I like where I'm at or do I want to make changes? So
right, exactly. And after the holidays, we all mostly our lifestyle looks a little different during holiday time, I would say. Yeah. So then that new year, we get back into more of our normal routine as well.
So even at the salon, we sometimes have a treat for our customers like here and there. The week before Christmas, we had 5 trays of cookies out. I was like, somebody has to eat all these cookies because I am not.
Yeah, and that's definitely, from Thanksgiving to Christmas. It's just a little different than the rest of the year. So
it's hard to stay on track for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the holidays revolve around food.
Not staying on track.
Like what are we gonna eat for this dinner?
Okay, so when people say new year, new me, what mindset shifts are essential for real and lasting results?
Yeah. And so I think that's where, yes, the new year can be a time where we start to make some of these changes, but we really do need to be intentional all year about it.
Right.
Sometimes we'll hear people maybe in October say, oh, after New Year's, but really, why not today? tomorrow. And so when we're looking at, lifestyle changes, we want it to be something we can maintain long term.
Right.
And we'll talk about this a little bit, but when we're trying to make these huge unrealistic changes, that's when we tend to fall off of those, because it's maybe not realistic for us and our lifestyle. As busy, we're all busy working full time. Or if you don't have kids even, we're all busy with different obligations. And so how can we make that fit even with that busyness? And what are some realistic things?
And sometimes I just feel there is so much pressure in the world and, TV and outside environment, it doesn't have to be a new me. It could be a new year, better me, maybe. Maybe that would be a better shift in that saying than a whole new me, because that's just a new me. Really? That's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
You are who you are.
Being accepting of where we're at and looking internally, where do we want to be? It doesn't have to come from outside influences. There's so much
especially
out there.
Social media. Oh my gosh, some of the reels you see and stuff, or TikToks, it's like, okay, but that's not realistic. You guys are being crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely not.
Yeah. Intentionally. I mean, living intentionally is definitely a buzzword these days, but what does that really mean in terms of how we take care of ourselves? What does living intentionally really mean?
And again, I think I'm going to say this a lot, it's so different for every individual person. But looking at yourself individually and, what are your goals? What do you prioritize? And that's how we need to look at nutrition too. So when I'm talking about intentionally, so is your goal to have enough energy to get through your day, play with your kids? Or is your goal, maybe you are into biking and do you want to be able to do that farther or faster? So just kind of looking at the individual person, what their goals, their priorities are. And then when we're talking about being intentional, just thinking about, we're not perfect either. So it's not an all the time thing, but looking at that big picture, and are we being consistent most of the time? But it's more of a big picture too, and it's all things can fit, and how can we make them all fit in a healthy way that can help us meet our individual health and wellness goals.
Right. Yeah. So when you're talking to people about living intentionally, what's a good way for them to see their vision for themselves and their family?
Yeah. Yep. Well, there's different ways that you can do it, but really I have to get kind of a background of, again, what makes them the happiest? What are they hoping to get out of this? And so is it, just spending quality time with their kids, having the energy to do things with their children, or just, themselves, maybe having the energy to get through their workday, looking at mental health. Nutrition impacts our mood a lot too.
So much,
and so maybe it's looking at that. And then if we're looking at that, thinking about, okay, let's look at kind of what your normal day looks like, and where are some things that we can identify. Are you feeling really low energy at 3 p.m.?
Right.
Then maybe we need to look at, what did your morning look like and things like that. So many busy people tend to maybe not eat enough during the day, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then we kind of lose our energy, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're not fueling our body, food is fuel, we have to have it. So if we're not fueling our body properly, we might have that slump at 3 p.m. or maybe we get kind of crabby at that time, or when we get home from work. So kind of looking at that too, and then being more intentional and taking time for us is really important too. So that is one that I'm not going to say I'm always good at it either. Full full disclosure here. I have ideas, but I'm not perfect at this either. But some of us don't really prioritize ourselves, maybe. Taking care of ourselves. So where can we, if we are feeling that 3 p.m. slump, and maybe it's something different, but that's just an example. What are we doing that's maybe leading to that? Are we skipping lunch, or are we just kind of eating very little because we're rushed through lunch, not taking that time to fuel our bodies?
Well, I think that's a huge thing, especially in my industry. We book ourselves appointments. We don't have a scheduled lunch break. So then finding time to sit down and eat something. Seriously, there's times that we're rushing to the back to mix a color and shoving food in our mouths just to make it through the day. And it's crazy, but we should try to plan that better. But
And that is reality for some people too.
Yeah.
So then maybe are we more intentional with what we have in the back and what we're grabbing that's
Right.
going to give us the fuel we
Right.
need
Right.
to get
Yeah.
through.
Like, you know, you're not going to have the time, but at least you packed the right things.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
The other thing too I always think about is sleep. Like, I never really I never planned accordingly for sleep, you know. It's kind of like that burning the candle at both ends type of, you know, you want to get up early and get your workout in, or you want to get up and get going, and then you're just going to do a few more things after the kids go to bed, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have to go to sleep now because I'm not going to be able to function.
For
You know,
sure.
really looking into, like, go to bed early. It's not, you know, like, for me anyway. I mean, my husband, he goes to bed early every night, has absolutely no problem with it. And sometimes I'm like, wait, why am I still up right now? Just go to bed. You
But
know?
also that we like give Jesse a hard time because we'll like get together and we're like, you stayed up past 9.
I know.
But like really he's the one doing the good job,
Yeah,
not us.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So moving on to like family and like relationship with food, things like that. Many parents, they kind of carry guilt, I guess I'd say, about their eating habits or habits for their family. How do we move towards a healthier, more compassionate relationship with food?
Yeah, because I think we have to like set an example for our children. So it's
Yes.
like
Yes, definitely. And this, you know, we shouldn't feel guilt with food, and a lot of this comes from social media too, and what the messages that are out there, and it's unfortunate that all these messages out there, but you know, really not thinking of food as good or bad or really healthy or unhealthy, more looking at, you know, balance, moderation. Yes, we want to get our nutrients, choose nutrient dense options some of the time. It's not a one size fits all. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's like that big picture, right? What does our week look like eating and nutrition? What does our month look like? But also, a family meal has benefits outside of what's served at that meal. So that's something too that we can talk to parents about if they're feeling that guilt is looking at, do you sit down and have family meals? How many times a week?
Right.
Because outside of what's served, that alone has benefits.
Yeah.
and
for
like
kids.
I know sometimes it's hard because people have practices at this time and you're trying to coordinate, but it really I do think just makes everybody feel better
Yeah.
when you sit down and have a meal. And like one thing we do, we have a thing where when we sit down for dinner, we go around the table and everybody says their best part of the day and their worst part of the day. Because I don't think it's just about the good things. Like, you got to talk about the bad, too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes kids don't want to open up about
No.
what happened. But,
And
like,
it's easy for them to not open up
Yeah.
if you ask the wrong question.
and what a great time to do it when everybody's sharing and we're just sitting down and we're eating and it's not like a forced, like, you know, thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we do something similar. We say what was one thing that made you happy today, and what is maybe one thing that made you sad or upset today. Honestly, the nighttime meal is probably one of my favorite parts of the day because it's the time we can all sit down. Now, I'm not saying we do it every single night because we also have busy practice schedules, but sometimes we're eating at 5 p.m., sometimes we're eating at 8 p.m. So it's also being adaptable.
yeah, like you can't have
a
a set dinner.
Right.
Tonight. I know my kids always give me a hard time because every time we do it, I'm like, my favorite time of day is right now, sitting down and eating with you. They're like, you say that every time. I'm like, well, it's true.
We are pretty good about sitting down most nights together, but then there's just like once sports and stuff start, you know, it's really having to focus on where are we going to get that, because it's not going to be at the dinner table, you know, like how are we going to be able to talk to our kids and when is that? And luckily for us, we live 20 miles out of town, so we've got that car ride, that close-knit car ride either into town or and so there's a lot of times that's when that happens versus at the table for us anyway. So again, like it doesn't have to be, it's not cookie cutter for everybody. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. That's kind of our...
I do like the idea of like picking another time though, because like last week we went to the basketball game, and so these basketball games last for ever. It's just like
once you're in the gym,
you're there forever. So I was telling the kids, I was like, okay, we'll go to the basketball game, but then since tomorrow's Saturday, we should all get up and make breakfast and have breakfast together. You know, like so. I'm just trying to like do something else since you're sitting in a gym eating. Walking tacos and cheeseburgers.
And that's another thing too, looking about the meals that maybe a parent's serving, and you don't have to switch everything. What's one small thing? You know, could you add a fruit or vegetable that you don't normally add to it? You know, again, trying to, no guilt there.
Right.
Just, you know, if you yourself maybe want to eat more nutrient dense, what could you maybe add to that? And trying to get away from that.
So speaking of like relationships with food, how do you differentiate between, or how does somebody differentiate between like emotional hunger and actual physical hunger?
Sure. Yep. I mean, there are scales that you can pay attention to, like a hunger satiety scale. I'll do that a lot with patients or clients who are really struggling with this. So there's 2 different scales. I like the 1 to 5, but 1 to 10 is more common. But 1 is like extremely hungry. 5 is extremely full, like overly stuffed. 2 is somewhat hungry, 3 is satisfied, and 4 is somewhat full. We really want to stay in the 2 to 4 range. And when we get to that 1, that's when we tend to eat to that 5, right?
Yeah,
We're
right.
extremely hungry, we tend to eat to that 5, overly stuffed. But when we're, you know, looking at emotional versus physical hunger, so if we're about to grab something to eat, paying attention to that, like where am I on this hunger scale? And hunger is a physical or a physiological sign that we do need food, right? And so there are symptoms of that. Your stomach might growl, you might start to feel like tired, fatigue, blurry vision, that's when you're pretty hungry, but you know, you're going to have some symptoms that you can tell from that. And then looking at if it's more, you know, you're grabbing something and you're like, well, I'm really not hungry.
You just like get bored and feel like you need something in your hands.
And it's okay to do that sometimes too, though. You know, like I want people to know that we all eat for sometimes, right? Emotional, boredom, social. It's more when it's like consistently we do that it might impact our health more. So if it's something that maybe we're consistently finding ourselves like, I'm stressed, I'm going to grab food, then what are other ways we can cope with that stress? Let's look at that. And what's going to work for that person to cope with that stress? You know, I could say go take a walk outside, but someone's like, I don't really like to do that. Maybe it's listen to music, read a book.
Or when it's like -15, like then I'm not going to go take a walk outside.
The weather might impact that, but yes.
Or people try to eat to get out of cleaning their room, like Rich today. My child just ate breakfast, so I promise I'm not starving my child. Let's start there. And I told him to clean up his room, and he was like, but I'm hungry, I need lunch. No, like you're only trying to get out of cleaning your room.
And kids, it's so important to teach them early on to these hunger and satiety cues, because they're actually, he was trying to trick you, of course. They're actually a lot better at it than we are as adults. So a lot of us grew up in a generation where we were maybe forced to finish our plates. And maybe we weren't still hungry. So we were used to kind of eating past that satiety cue. So we kind of have to retrain ourselves a little bit.
That has really actually been a huge thing for me. I remember it was, you don't leave the dinner table until your plate's clean. You just don't, you know? And now with our kids, I've caught myself a couple of times being like, no, you can't, you're not done. Like, look at your plate. You took it, you eat it, and then trying to like stop myself and be like, no, are you full? Like, because this is what's for dinner. So if you're full, that's fine. But just know that we're done. You know, we're not just going to keep eating all night long either.
And that's another thing I tell our kids, like, they're like, I want to be done. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But make sure you're full, because we're not snacking out of the candy drawer later because you're hungry again because you didn't eat your broccoli. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and they're smart like that. So you guys, absolutely what we recommend is, hey, if you're full, you're full. My kid's hungry an hour later, okay, I'll reheat what we had for supper, you know, because no, we're not going to go grab a snack now an hour later because you just had a meal. So.
Well, and I think one of the really hard things with our household is the after-school snack. Like, my kids are always hungry after school, and I get that. But I'm trying to teach them that they need to make like healthier options and not fill themselves with junk after school. And also, yes, get a snack so that it tides you over, but don't ruin your dinner because you ate an entire meal after school. So like, I don't know, finding,
And it is hard because kids are very hungry after school. They're growing, right?
And they've been eat lunch at like 11. Like a very early hour.
and sometimes some of those snacks can look like a mini meal almost.
Yeah.
But teaching them, we want something that's going to give us sustained energy, but yet not so we're so full we're not going to eat our supper.
Do you, what is your thoughts on, say you have a snack, and I guess, maybe I'm doing this wrong, but I have my older son, he's to the point now where he understands calories.
Sure.
And so I'm like, okay, well, after school you can have a snack that's 150, 200 calories, but it's up to you. Is it a snack that, how hungry are you? Because different foods are going to last longer. They have the same amount of calories in them, but not the same amount of value.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's just kind of one of the ways that I've tried to teach him,
Yeah.
Your calorie intake is one thing, and you can find a snack that will hold you over until dinner that's 200 calories. If you choose poorly, this snack is not going to last you, and you're still going to be super hungry up until dinner.
Yeah, and getting them in tune, with that a little bit too. You guys have a little bit older boys, and so, getting them in tune with, okay, what did you choose for the snack today, and how did you feel an hour or two later?
Yeah.
Or how are you feeling before supper right now? And you can start to kind of talk about the nutrients. Fiber is going to keep us full for longer. Protein keeps us full for longer as well. Just having some of those options readily available for them, which is hard. It's easier said than done, right? But, my kids, if I have the fruit cleaned and ready or cut up already, they're going to grab that.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to go do that themselves.
I have noticed that too. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much fruit you
I can have a bag of apples and they won't touch them. But if I chop the apples up, they eat the whole thing.
It's got to be very convenient for them.
Yeah, and I don't always focus on calories with my kids, but I will say, for a snack, we're gonna try to have maybe carbohydrates and proteins together, or a couple different foods together versus just these crackers that you're gonna be hungry again in an hour. And I just kind of frame it as to tide you over until supper time. So we're gonna have maybe a couple things together, so kind of framing it that way too, choose one of, you could have charts
These
of
are your options.
maybe you have crackers and nut butter and dried fruit, or choose a couple of these and have different columns to choose from each of these columns for your snack to help tide you over.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I feel one of the biggest struggles is easy snacks these days, the ones you go and buy, are actually not good for the kids. But it's hard to find the balance between having stuff that they can just grab and go, and then grabbing fruit snacks or whatever.
That's just it. We, for the longest time, we had went to the super easy, convenient for me snacks, not necessarily healthiest option. And after a while, even the kids don't even like those. They're just they're bland, or they're bored of those, and they're not getting their nutrition either. So we're kind of to the point now where, and with sports in full force, 3 kids in 3 different sports
packing
and practice,
the snack bag.
We have to. I told the kids we can't, because there are some nights that we don't get home until 8:30, and there's only a small break in there that we need to get dinner in, and it's got to be in town because we don't have another option. So I'm we cannot eat out every single night, know. So just so you know, we're buying in bulk, we're making some pre-made dinners on these nights, that it works. But same with snacks, I'm not going to the store so you can run over and grab junk.
I do like the idea of pairing things up though, because I did see these snack packs that they have that you can obviously you have to take the time and you have to make them for your kids, but once you get it done, they're ready. But it's a 2-compartment thing, so you can put I don't know, apples and peanut butter together, or whatever combinations you can come up with.
And that's, looking at, can we combine protein and fat, or carbs and protein, carbs and fat, fiber, add some fiber in there. It's just going to tide you over for a lot longer. So whatever it might be, cheese and crackers, if you have whole wheat crackers, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But, and it's not going to be perfect. My kids too, I definitely buy the Z bars, you know, because
Right.
those are quick and easy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, can we do Greek yogurts and berries and have some of that ready for them?
Yeah.
Just so that they're more likely, you know, a lot of these things my kids like,
But they
but
just
they're
won't
not-
get it themselves.
they're not going to do it on their. Like, he has to have a good solid either meal or snack an hour or so. It's wiped out during practice or the
right.
game.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's starting to put that together a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
we talked that definitely about more of that with our, especially our oldest. Like, he was in junior high sports, and so, like, Saturday game day, I was like, so what are we eating for breakfast? Because, like, you need to have a good, solid breakfast, because then you're going to be in a gym all day. He was playing 2 games because he was on both squads, and I was like, we got to fuel you up. And I think it's great, too, like, I mean, yes, we as parents can say something, but it's so funny when your kids hear it from a different person, how seriously they take it. Like, during basketball, their coach said, athletes don't drink soda. My kid gave up soda all of basketball season. I was like, that's all it takes? Like, one person to say
the
it?
right person. Yeah.
Like, I could say that 75 times, and it would not matter, but coach said it, so now we take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you how much impact, like, they have.
Like, what else can I have the coach about that?
Can I also have you say this? Clean your room.
Athletes also clean their room.
Even teachers. So my kids obviously know I'm a dietitian, but my youngest son's teacher, they were doing a nutrition unit, and she was talking about choosing at least 3 of the food groups at meal times. And so he came home, and every meal he was trying to eat at least 3 of the food groups. And I thought, well, you don't always do this for me. You know, I always serve usually at least 3 of the food groups at a meal time. But yeah, they definitely sometimes outside influence other than parents go a little bit further.
Okay, so we talked about like meal prepping and just having a good open communication portal for kids, but is there any other small changes that you recommend, I guess, that might really create a lasting impact?
You know, I think talking about meal prep, meal planning, that's one that can be really hard for people, but it does make a huge difference, and you guys have probably know that. So people just have to find a way that maybe works for them too, right? So for me, on the weekends, I make my list. I have an idea of what meals I'm going to serve during the week, and I do planned leftovers because of our busy schedule, right? So
and you don't want to waste the food. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you have this good food, you gotta eat it.
Yeah, and I might make like a big crock pot double batch on Sunday, and we're going to eat that Monday, heat it up quick because we have practice that night.
Right.
And so trying to really have the ingredients available though, right? If I don't have the ingredients, I'm not going to the grocery store at 5 p.m. making something.
Who wants to go at that time? Even our little grocery store in town, that is the worst time of day to go.
Oh
there.
yeah, it's packed in there.
Yeah. So whatever works for some people. For me, it works on the weekends, but some people are busy working on the weekends or doing other activities. So maybe it's one night a week they look at, okay, what are some things I want to serve this week? What do I need to have the ingredients on hand? Because it's so easy if you don't to just say, nope, I'm just going to pick something up instead. So.
Well, and one thing I noticed that this year has been more of a struggle as opposed to last year was last year one of my daughters was in gymnastics. But it was in Miles City. And so I would make a meal plan because I knew I was going to Miles City. And during her time of gymnastics was just enough time for me to go and pick up a pickup order. But like I was so much better about planning because I knew I had that option.
Yeah.
And this year I'm like, oh my God, every night we're like, what are we having for dinner? Like, that's my husband's favorite question to ask me. I'm like, I don't know what we're having for dinner. But like, it's just so much easier if you make a plan. But yes, it's like picking that time to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's one of my huge goals for this new year. I'm like, I gotta get back into making a schedule. And on our new fancy calendar. List the meal for the day.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're someone that's like, I'm not going to be able to do that, okay. Can you have some fruits and vegetables on hand? You pick up, let's say you pick up pizza. I shouldn't say we all, but I eat pizza sometimes too.
Right.
But I try to pair it with something.
Yeah, like put a bowl of fruit out on the table with it or whatever. And I mean, I've noticed with our family, we eat a lot of the same fruits and vegetables because I pick the ones that I know my kids are going to eat. Like, you know, when we pick a vegetable for dinner, I'm like, well, I know all of them are going to eat asparagus, so we eat that probably more than the average family, but I know they'll at least eat it. So it's just easier.
That's impressive. All 4 children
all
eat
4
asparagus.
children eat asparagus. Only 1 of 4 eat potatoes, but we'll all eat asparagus. Riddle me that one. I'm like, nobody likes, like, I mean, I guess that's not like the worst thing, but I also have a husband that came up from this, you know, like, meat and potatoes lifestyle where like, you know, this ranching community that everybody thinks that every meal should be meat and potatoes, and then 3 of my kids hate potatoes. Like, some of them won't even eat French fries. Like,
yeah, that is crazy.
They're like, nah. I'm like,
with steak and asparagus.
Sign them up.
Oh, that's funny. I guess, yeah. Okay, so getting into our New Year's goals, and it's January, and every January you're slapped in the face with all of these like commercials about what, you know, the new diet or this
all these ads.
Yes, all of this stuff. So like, what is one misconception that you wish more people understood about the quick fixes and everything?
Many. So it's really hard for me to pick one because there's so
many issues.
When we were growing up in the 90s, fat was like the worst thing, right? Everything was fat free.
Yes.
Don't know if you guys remember that. But obviously in my training I learned again too. But I think recently carbohydrates have been the thing that people are trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Our bodies do need carbohydrates. Some people need different amounts than others. Obviously, I'm not giving individualized nutrition advice on this episode. So,
oh, come on.
Everyone needs different amounts, but our bodies do need carbohydrates. So I think that's the biggest one. And protein is such a push right now. And don't get me wrong, some people do need more protein. But do we all need added protein in everything we eat? Probably not. And so and there are some people who need more, you know, very active individuals, some people with different illnesses, but not everybody needs that. So that's right now, I think that a lot of people think that they should avoid carbohydrates and eat a whole bunch of extra protein.
Right.
Seriously, I have been pushed and like I feel attacked with the amount of protein I'm supposed to be eating right now. Probably more than I felt I was pushed for drugs when I was a teenager. The protein. Go for the protein.
It's everywhere. There's like pasta sauce with added protein.
And I'm like,
popcorn. My daughter bought protein popcorn the other day. And I was like, do you want that? Okay.
And I'm not saying,
she said it was disgusting.
And I'm not saying, like, I have protein powders at my house, like, because I'm not like a breakfast eater. And so it's like just a quick something for me. So it's better than nothing, obviously. But literally, like, when I go to plan a meal, I'm like, well, what meat are we having? What protein or whatever are we having? What vegetable or fruit are we having? And what else are we having with it? Like, it's not like you have to make this more complicated. Like, if you need protein, like, again, go grab some meat, like, or eat some peanut butter. Like, it's not.
They're a natural source.
Like, you don't have to add protein to your pasta. Like, that's wild to me.
Very active athletes, for example, we're thinking like college pro athletes, they need a lot of protein. It can be hard to get in natural sources.
For sure.
For the average adult, we probably don't need all of the added protein. I too, occasionally, if I am running in the morning, quick, I will grab a protein shake and a fruit and a little bit of dry cereal or toast or something, because just the shake alone is not going to get me through my morning. So, you know, I do use them sometimes too, but that's kind of, it's out there everywhere now.
Well, and like with my oldest, again, he's like an athlete, but he's pretty scrawny. Like, he's not a big, beefy kid. And a lot of times in the morning, all he was eating for breakfast was cereal. So I was like, do you want me to whip you up like a protein shake with your cereal? Just because, I didn't feel like he was getting enough. I'm like, your bowl of cereal isn't going to help you out when you're lifting after school and then going to practice and doing all this stuff. Like, you need more than that. So.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, we need all of the food groups, and we need to get enough.
Just the right amount.
Enough fuel for our needs and the demands of our body, depending on what we're doing.
So what's like maybe your best way of filtering out the misconceptions and really trying to just stick to what matters?
So I really try to not pay attention to the nutrition stuff on social media as a dietitian.
Stop listening in January.
Honestly, I scroll past it. I don't really pay attention to it, and just going to more reliable sources. Depending where you're looking, obviously peer-reviewed journal articles are the going to have the best information, but also like .gov, .org websites, and not just going to TikTok for your nutrition advice, or reaching out to qualified individuals or professionals who have that knowledge. It is very hard today, though, because there's so much out there and misinformation, but also paying attention to, is this person trying to sell me what they're also recommending here? Because then you might want to look a little farther. Not saying that it's always misinformation, but that's when we want to dig a little bit further into that, look into other sources of information on that, because obviously they're going to make a profit if they're selling that to you. So paying attention to that too.
Well, and I think that like when you look at these things that are like absolutely none of this, like again, that's not realistic, like, and it's not the way you should think. Like when people are like no carbs, no, but like also like you can Google healthier carbs. Like there's better options than just like eating carbs on carbs, which my husband would love to just like when we have dinner. He'll be like, okay, well I'm making this pasta. Well, should we have like bread with it? Like so carbs with carbs and more carbs. Like okay, let's not get carried away here.
I don't think we need that.
I don't know.
And eating, part of it is satisfaction too, right? Yes, we need to eat for nutrition, meet our body's needs, but part of it is satisfaction too. And that's a big piece too. If we're not meeting that taste satisfaction too, that's when we tend to crave things more.
And that's what the thing that I think is wild, like during the holidays, like you can live a healthy lifestyle and eat your Thanksgiving dinner. Like there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Absolutely.
It's just you can't eat like that every single day of your life, you know? Like it's okay. Like it's fine.
Definitely okay.
Are there any new insights to nutrition that you feel are coming down the pipeline that might actually like change how families approach food? You got the inside information.
You got the scoop that we don't know. What's TikTok gonna tell me now?
Maybe some of you have heard of the Mediterranean diet. There's a lot of good research out there about some of the health benefits of that. Implementing a full Mediterranean diet here in the United States is a little bit more challenging.
Right, when you're not in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, but there is some to that, They limit intakes of red meat and then like added sugars. So there's some to that, but I'm not going to say there's like one thing coming down the pipeline that's new. And honestly, there's lots of nutrition research evolving, and a lot of time it goes back to the basics of, balance, variety, moderation, picking your nutrient-dense foods. One thing that we are seeing more is intuitive eating. It's kind of looking at mindful eating, but a little different approach. So intuitive eating is just being more in tune with satiety and satisfaction.
Okay.
How satisfied were we with what we chose? Because I don't know if you've ever, maybe had a craving for a food.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm not going to have that. And then you eat this, that, the other thing, and you still want that one food. So then you still eat that one food, right? And then you're really full.
Yeah, after all of that.
So there is a piece of that too, and satisfaction. So that's something. And then kind of that separating weight from health, that's a big thing. That's kind of newer approach. So in the medical field, dietetics too, we've had more of a weight-centric approach for a lot of years. And so kind of a lot of the new approach of kind of trying to separate that weight and health. Weight change may be an outcome of behavior change, lifestyle change, but it's not the behavior change or lifestyle change itself.
Yeah, I love that idea, like when you were talking earlier about more about your energy levels and what you're trying to get through rather than a number on the scale. Like, I just think that's, especially when you're a parent, like I'm way more worried about being there and being able to take care of my kids than how much I weigh on a scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, and that's what's important, what is our mood like? I know for me, if I'm not feeling myself well, I get pretty crappy by the end of the day, right? I want to be
I get
the
kind of
best
cranky,
version.
but like my daughter, that girl gets straight up hangry. Like it is that. Or like, we gotta feed her. Like she is mad.
Everybody watch out.
But I want to be the best version of myself with my kids that night. And then of course we're looking at people's health markers too. What's blood pressure look like? blood glucose levels. But how do you feel? How do you feel during the day?
Well, and I think a lot of it too is about setting an example for your kids. Like, if I'm worried like about the number on the scale, like what example am I setting for my daughters? Because that's not how I want them to look at it. So I can't be like that. Like, you have to straight up look in the mirror and be like, this is not how I want my daughters looking at food.
Right.
So we have to set an example that way.
And, you know, looking at ourselves too, and we all maybe have areas where we struggle, and so how can we do different for the next generation, right?
For sure.
And trying not to, my husband, I always say, like, we don't talk about weight in front of the kids. We just don't. They're going to hear it somewhere at some point eventually, right?
Yeah.
Obviously at the doctor, they're measuring it. You need it to dose medication, so it's not going to go away,
Right.
but not making it the focus.
Yeah.
Right? If our kids are constantly seeing us or hearing us talk about a number, what message is that sending them? So trying to
just
take it off of that
Yeah.
focus. Important for ourselves, but our children too.
Well, and like we talk about like daughters because I feel like that's kind of like the thing, but also like boys and wrestling. I mean, girls wrestle too, so don't get me wrong, but that is crazy. Like, because they have to pay so much attention to weight with the weight classes, and I get it. Like, I understand why that is set there. But you have to be really careful around it.
Thing.
Like, I remember my brother and his, like, some of the stuff he did was straight up unhealthy to make weight in wrestling. And I was like, I understand that, yes, we're wrestlers and we want to be the best that we can be, but, like, we have to do this in a more healthy way.
Yes.
Like, this is wild.
I haven't done a ton with wrestlers, but like when they're done with the sport, maybe, so they don't do it after high school, maybe, then looking at habits, because some of it can kind of carry over.
For sure.
Kind of having to retrain to the hunger satiety.
Yeah.
So that's a big one too.
Right.
So you talked a lot about feelings, like internally, how are you feeling? But for busy professionals, like, how do you go about, you know, really focusing on your health without it becoming just another task on your daily work?
Yeah, I think it's hard. I don't have a great answer on that, other than think of it like anything else that you're prioritizing. I'm prioritizing being at work on time, getting my work done. Where do I have 15 minutes to focus on me? And physical activity comes into play with this too. And I always tell my students this, like, my activity looks a lot different than yours. Like, college students, generally, not all at least, but they might have a little more time to be physically active.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, do I have 15, 20 minutes that I could do some sort of activity? You know, it's not going to look like an hour, hour and a half typically. So kind of focusing on, you know, trying to view it as another part of your day.
Right.
And where does that
built in.
Where does that fit in? And built in. And some people, this is about nutrition, but physical activity, some people it's like it has to be in the morning or it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then other people are like, no way is it happening in the morning. It has to be at night. And so can you view that like this is, and it doesn't have to be every day of the week, but maybe it's 3 days a week. This is my priority. And then when we're talking about nutrition, to where are you going to have time? Like for me, I try to pack my lunches most of the time, but that takes time too.
For sure.
So you kind of have to plan that in, like, okay, this is my morning routine, and part of that is 5 minutes of packing that lunch in the morning. And so trying to view it just as part of your day as well.
Well, and I think when we get to like the physical activity part, I mean, I think so many people look at it as like sitting down and working out or like doing this to work out. But like when you're a busy parent, sometimes physical activity can be playing with your kids. Like go do something because you can't cut out time with your kids just because you want to be healthy, and I get that, but there's plenty of stuff you can go do with your kids. Go on a bike ride. It's a lot more work than it was when I was younger.
And it's benefiting your children too, right?
They're learning
You're setting them to prioritize moving their bodies, and that's a big piece. How can we move our bodies in a way that we enjoy? Like, I am not going to go swim because I don't enjoy that.
I like to sit on the side and read a book while my kids swim.
Because I don't enjoy that. So what are ways that we can do that we enjoy? Maybe it's dancing with your children. Maybe it's going for a walk, a bike ride.
Right. Or like I even try to teach my kids, like we have 2 dogs, like take the dog for a walk. Like they need it, you need it, it benefits everybody. Like
just involving them in that routine, no matter what it is just a good example to set.
Yes.
And it makes it so much easier. It's like two birds, with one stone, honestly. Spending the time with your kids and everybody's working out because they're getting these good examples and healthy lifestyle choices that hopefully they just get to continue it or choose to continue it on in their adult lives when they get there. But
and I think having those kind of options for your kids, have a basketball hoop at your house so that the kids can go around and shoot around or whatever.
Even a balloon. My kids will play a balloon for
keepy uppy. Best game ever. Kids love it.
Things available, but it doesn't have to, be expensive either. It can be something simple.
Right. So our kids at the school, they do a jump roping
competition.
My kids came home one day and they're like, we joined the 3-minute club. And I was like, what are we talking about? What is that? You have to jump rope for 3 minutes and then you make the 3-minute club. And I was like, I for sure can do that. I did. I made it. My calf muscles were sore for a week and a half. I was like, dude, jump roping is harder than I remember.
Seems like a lot.
It was, and Tucker and Ricky were timing me, and they didn't tell me when I hit the 3 minutes. So I actually jump roped for 3.5 minutes because they just let me keep going. I'm like, you guys couldn't tell me when I reached my goal. I did it. I joined the club. Misty does know.
That's hilarious.
But stuff like that. They're doing stuff at school. They're doing activities. See what they're doing and try to add it into your.
Keep it going.
Apparently, pickleball's a big thing. We bought because we don't have pickleball all around here. A court for our driveway, and so we were trying to learn to play pickleball. Even stuff like that. You wouldn't think it's the most physically active thing, but it sure can be.
Yeah. Well, in any sort of movement, and getting outside.
Yes. Just
maybe not when it's negative 20, but
I know.
But even in the wintertime, if you go sledding, hiking back up that hill is a lot of work.
For sure.
Go do that.
Definitely.
Kind of going back to food and stuff, is there any strategy you have for picky eaters?
Good question.
My youngest has been picky most of his life. My oldest never had that problem. He's just a great little eater. So there's a couple strategies. Every kid is different in what will work for them. One big thing is modeling. Right? Are you, as the parents, eating those foods too?
Right. Are you eating your broccoli?
Honestly. If you're trying to get your kid to eat this fruit or vegetable and you're not eating it. So modeling is really important from a very young age. Also, just having it available, but not forcing. When we try to force our kids to do anything, they don't want to do that, right? For sure. It's no different with foods. There's a lot of research showing it takes many exposures for kids to try a new food. So the research says 15. I'm going to attest to more than that, even though
that is a
for
lot.
Some kids. Yeah. Which can be frustrating for parents because we don't want to throw away a lot of food, right? So give them just a really small amount. If you know it's a food that's maybe new to them or they weren't so sure about last time, maybe it's broccoli, just put one little piece of broccoli on their plate. And then just keep doing that, though. Keep exposing them to it, but letting them have a say, too, letting them pick. So if you take your kids to the grocery store, say, you guys each get to pick out one fruit and one vegetable today. They love that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
They love to help grow foods. Not that I don't have a garden, so don't think that I but my neighbor does, and he lets my kids be involved in growing. And they eat more vegetables out of that garden than they ever will at my table. So if you can involve them in some of that.
There's a sense of pride in it.
For sure.
And then making it kind of fun. So dips, if you can use dips, but there's some fun toothpicks that have shapes or whatever.
Okay.
That might be more for younger kids. But it's really important to kind of start this when they are younger. Now, if you didn't, it's okay. Taste will change over time too. And you can always, offer those foods again. That's another big thing is try not to be a short order cook too. So, you're serving something for dinner and they're like, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead. Trying not to do that because then they're less likely to eat what you're offering, right? Yeah. If I know I can just have this instead, I'm going to have that every time. For kids who are pretty picky, we do say try to have at least one thing that that they've eaten and will eat in the past too, so that it's not everything is new to them. A familiar food on the plate with some of the newer foods. So And then also, parents get so worried. If my kid doesn't eat, they're going to be starving, right? They're going to be grumpy. As long as your kid's growing fine. It's different for our kids who maybe aren't growing fine. So this is not for these kids. But if our kids are growing fine, they're going to be okay if they only eat a little bit at supper every now and then. Yeah. And again, if they're hungry in an hour, do we have some leftovers instead of going and grabbing snacks because they get smart. And so we used to do a bedtime snack, and it ended up only being like an hour after supper just because of timing wise. Oh, my kids got really smart, and then they weren't eating supper, right? And so, thinking about that too in our timing of meals and snacks, because they have to be hungry going into it to try these foods too, right? And we want them to eat when they're
We've
hungry.
set it up too to where, we know our kids have never tried something, and instantly they're like, no, I'm not eating that, absolutely not. And I'm like, okay, but like, how do you even know? You literally have never tried, and we do one bite, and if you don't like it, fine. But you gotta try it to know, right? Like you can't just like come in here thinking that you don't like this because you literally have no idea. So then they try the one bite and they're like, no, it's disgusting. I'm like, okay, well, thanks for trying. At least you tried it, and then we go on to the next thing.
And sometimes, just kind of making it slightly different and acknowledging that I made it a little bit different this time, so you might like it this time. Right. Sometimes too, we'll be like, okay, now I'll try it. Or if it's a new food to all of us, sometimes let's try this together. And so then it's
like a fun thing you guys all do
as a family. We're going to try this new thing together. Right. But again, not forcing, because you don't want it to become negative. Mealtimes, we all have negative experience.
Like, here we go.
I tried to really explain that to my husband, because my youngest one, sometimes he goes all week and will not eat dinner. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, he's not going to eat it. And my husband's like, well, he has to eat, he's got to be starving. I'm like, no, he's not. If he was starving, he would eat something. And he's fine. Honestly, he was going to bed still, getting up in the morning, and we'd start over and eat in the morning. And I was like, clearly it's just something with the way he's growing and whatever is going on. And we can't force him into it.
And for young kids, the supper time meal can sometimes be the worst because they're tired at that time too, right? They're wiped out. So you will see that with younger kids. Breakfast and lunch are pretty good, and then at night they're kind of wiped out.
And for him, he's the youngest of 4. So by the time we get around to eating dinner and stuff, if he doesn't eat, we're like, well, go get ready for bed. And we just move on to the next thing. We're like, well, then I guess it's bedtime.
Fine. That is just fine.
And he is.
He's fine. His belly says he eats.
Okay, so January's a big push for health, for new goals, for setting these things, but then February comes and they often kind of fade out. So what is a better way to set and track goals that will sustain them?
Start with one. Start with one goal. Instead of trying to change my activity, my sleep, and my eating habits all at once. Let's start with one thing. Do that for a few weeks. See how you're doing. What barriers did you have? When that starts to be more of your normal, your routine, then move on to your next goal, because it's really overwhelming. And that's when we just give up. We're like, this is too much. I cannot do all of this. And we don't have to do it all at once. Health changes don't happen overnight.
For sure.
And nor do lifestyle changes.
So you got a whole year to work on it. So just
I always
new
tell
year,
people
better.
And research is really showing more sustainable if we're focusing on 1-2 small changes at the most at a time.
Gotcha.
So maybe you could even make a list of goals and in January start this one. If you're doing a good job in February, see if you want to add another one if everything's going good.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's great. What's one overlooked health goal that families should maybe consider this year?
You mentioned the sleep. I think honestly that's my biggest one is the sleep. I don't know about you guys. I honestly prioritize it better for my children than for myself.
For sure.
But we all need good sleep, and it impacts so many things in our health and well-being. And it impacts our nutrition too. If we're tired, we're more likely to grab quick, easy things. We need quick energy, right? Because we're tired. So thinking about that, or just we might not have the energy to take time to make meals. So sleep, I think, is probably one of the biggest ones that as busy adults, it's hard for us to prioritize. We don't have to be perfect on that too. Start small. If you're getting 6 hours of sleep a night right now, could you maybe do 6.5? Try to go to bed a half hour earlier. Or if you're somebody who struggles to fall asleep, looking at that and focusing on how can I help myself fall asleep at night? What's preventing me from falling asleep?
Right. Well, I feel like with my kindergartner, she was adjusting to like going to school and like making this change. And one rule we set for the kids is like we are people that we let our kids crawl into bed if they need to and whatever. But on a school night, they have to sleep in their own bed. We're like, no, it's a school night. You need a good night's rest. So you being in our room affects that a lot. So on school nights, you've got to go to bed in your own bed because it's just important that you get a good night's sleep.
And doing something more calm before bed. So I know this is hard with sports, right? My oldest has practice, comes home and basically showers and it's bedtime.
Yeah. Right.
But and for adults too, like turning off screens, not doing activity right before bed, doing something a little more calming, at least like 20-30 minutes before we go to bed.
Yeah, like I love to read before bed.
Same.
Maybe not everybody likes that, but I love to read a book before bed. And my kids like that too, like having a bedtime story. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe you guys should do an episode on books. Recommendations.
Oh yeah. Into some of this.
I know. I don't sit still long enough to like read books. I swear.
Have you done audio books?
In the car, I will do. Because we are on the road often. That we kind of I feel like live out of our car most of the day. So I will do audiobooks in the car. But I told my kids this, like, don't think this pertains to you, but possibly this could be a trauma response to a childhood something or another that I haven't coped with. I don't know. But if I'm sitting down and reading a book, I feel guilty almost. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I could be getting this done, I could be getting that done, and here I am just sitting here doing nothing.
I do think this is an issue.
I know. I think I probably need a therapist for this or something. I don't know, but obviously I know that already, so it's not like I don't recognize it, and so I will sometimes just sit and make myself sit, but reading books is more of an audio.
Well, and again for me, like, I feel like with having 4 kids, all I do with my life is laundry. That's all I feel like I'm ever doing. But it's something that I often listen to my audiobook while I when I'm not watching trashy TV. It just depends on the day. But that's one of my goals every year. I set a book goal for myself.
Yeah, you do good though.
Because I have like you get an app that tracks it.
Yeah.
A little club, right? You guys trade? There's some
people in town that we often trade books and stuff. Like sometimes I show up at work and there's just a stack of books on the counter. It's like the best day ever. I love it.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked. Just to wrap this up, we have kind of like a quick insight round. Super like rapid fire questions.
Are you ready for this?
Quick answers. First thing that comes to mind. One underrated nutrient.
I'm going to say omega-3 fatty acids.
Ooh, okay. One kitchen swap or tool that makes a big difference.
Air fryer. Absolutely. I did not like it when I started.
Love my air fryer.
But, I might not have time to make mashed potatoes, but I have time to chop up some potatoes, put some olive oil on them, throw them in the air fryer.
Ooh, I do love the air fryer. Yes.
My asparagus I always make air fryer.
Yes.
Ooh,
good. You can make some good vegetables in there.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay, let's also talk about the steak air fried.
Oh,
air fried
don't
steak.
Bring it up. It's a really touchy subject with my family.
Tucker loves a good barbecued steak.
He really enjoys the whole grilling process.
Yeah,
like
it's an event.
It is an experience. It is not just like a cooking thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole event. And I think we had bought steaks because we were gonna like do something, and we got sidetracked. I don't even know. So we had steaks in the fridge, and Tucker was at work, and so I'm like on Pinterest or something, and it's like air fry your steak. I was like, we'll try it. So Tucker comes home from work and he's like, oh my God, Dad, Mom air fried our steaks and it was like the best steak I ever had. And it was like a shot to the heart to Tucker. Like he was devastated. I was like,
don't tell me.
So now we don't talk about it. But
I've never tried.
Our steak, it's pretty good.
Okay, one more question. One thing we should all stop stressing about.
Having a perfect diet.
Love it.
Perfect.
Yep. It's the whole big picture.
Yeah.
The week, the year.
Love it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for all this
Yes,
information.
yeah.
You're
Okay,
so
that's it.
knowledgeable about
I know.
everything. I love
Yeah,
it.
that was all of our questions. So, I mean, we'll just kind of wrap it up.
Do you feel like there was anything we
what else? Is there
missed
anything
or
we need to talk about?
got it
No,
covered?
that was awesome. I am
Perfect.
so
So
glad
fun.
to join. That was fun, and I love to watch your episodes.
Thank you.
That was
I'm
great.
so glad you made it. And thank you so much for joining
you.
us. You're one of our besties forever. You guys, if you liked this episode, please go on and subscribe so we can keep this going and bring in this new year right with more episodes.
And maybe more guests.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
More guests. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again today. Until next week, guys. We'll see you back then.
Bye, besties.